Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Nancy, as you all already know. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you are here, may I know where you are? Okay, so we'll go straight to our webinar. So I'll start with an introduction to the program. So this program is basically about going back to school and how we can plan and prepare for success for our education. And so we have a few topics that we will discuss, which is how to aim higher in education and the impact of health on our education, and also the need for mentors in our educational journey. So before we start, I will introduce my guests. Our first guest is Samuel. Our first guest is Samuel from USA, and his current position is Graduate Research Assistant at Dr. Luis Martinez Lab, Department of Oral Biology, Health Science Center at University of Florida, USA. And he had his master's degree in experimental and medical biosciences at Sweden, Linköping University, and his bachelor's in biochemistry in Ghana, KNUST. And our second guest is Enoch. So Enoch had his education, his bachelor's and master's education in business administration in KU Leuven in Belgium. And he has worked in talent management for the past 3 years in Belgium, and he now lives in the UK. So he has keen interest in nurturing talents and mentoring the youth to find their way. And he's also very curious about how our brains work. And the last but not the least guest on our list on our panel is our very own lady, Pearl Kitcher, who is also a registered nutritionist, a public health nutritionist with a degree in public health nutrition and a background in biochemistry. And she has an interest in problem solving and entrepreneurship in the food and agri-business sectors. So we will go straight into our discussion with our first guest, Samuel, who will talk to us about how we can aim higher in education.
All right, thank you so much for having me on your program to talk about aiming higher in education. I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if you all can see it. So my name is Samuel, Nancy as introduced, and my topic for the panel would be aiming higher in education. And I want to start with a quote from Dr. Kofi Boahin in his book, However Far the Stream Flows. And he says, and I quote, "Now, unless you plan on being dead in 20 years, 20 years is going to come, and it better find you doing the thing you really want to do. Don't give that dream up. Just keep at it. If that's what you really want to do, find a way to do it." And this quote really speaks a lot. Dr. Kofi Boahin is a well-known otolaryngology surgeon here in the United States. He works at Johns Hopkins, and his story is quite an interesting one. He has this dream that actually on the outside looked impossible, but he broke all barriers to get to that dream, and that was to become a medical doctor. And he did it. He aimed higher, and he got to the point that he wanted to get to. And in that same book, he quoted Paul the Sixth, in which, and I quote, that in youth, the days are short and the years are long. In old age, the years are short and days long. What I picked from this quote is, as a youth, we actually think that we have all the time available to us. However, when we are old, we realize that years do catch up really quick. And of course, we have all been witnesses to what happened in 2020. In March, COVID-19 came and everything went blank, and all of a sudden we're in September. So that also goes to speak that indeed the years are short. What am I saying? What I'm saying is, however or whatever point that you want to get to, you have to do it and do it now. If you want to pursue a career, this is the right time to do it. Because I bet you I have this friend of mine, very good friend of mine, Dr. Wisdom Kanda, who is a senior lecturer at Linköping University, Sweden. He did tell me something that I should give myself like 5 years to get a PhD I want to get, because that 5 years will soon come. And if that 5 years meet me not having the degree that I want to get, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. And it really spoke to me. I took a leave out of that. And what I can say is that saying is really true. So if you want to aim and get a degree or pursue a career or go to school or whatever vocation that you want to do it, just go for it. And we are aware, as I mentioned before, that we are in unprecedented times. As we also will say, we are not in normal times. And of course, that's because of COVID-19. And of course, that has also impacted the economy greatly. I mean, a whole lot of things came to a standstill. But one key thing that we can take from a quote by the current president of the United States, President Donald Trump. He said, and I quote, that my policy is to learn from the past, focus on the present, and dream about the future. I'm a firm believer in learning from adversity. Often the worst of times can turn to your advantage. My life is a study of that. So in these new times, of course, we are all used to, going to the classroom, having face-to-face education or schooling. And I mean, everything has changed now. But there's one thing that is certain, that even if everyone is not pursuing that degree that they wanted to, that vocation that they wanted to, you can still make it during this time. You can still make it during, and who knows, this could even be the best time for you to succeed, even than when we were in quote in the normal times. So one may ask, how do I go for it, for the trophy, for the golden trophy of my degree, my vocation, my career? Well, the first thing to do is to plan. And in planning, there are some questions that you have to ask yourself. That what is your reason for going to school? I mean, there are several reasons that may come up when you want to pursue something. So you have to identify the very particular reason for which you want to go to school. Is it to train yourself for a particular career, or just to get a degree, or to go and socialize? It's funny though, but some people actually just go to school just to make friends, which is good, because schooling is actually one way to establish network, and that has a huge impact in your career. So you have to find that reason, that motivation for going to school. So what is your reason for going to school? And after identifying that reason, you ask yourself, are you ready to set that into motion? So you just can't get up and, okay, I want to go to school, so I'm gone. No, you have to make plans. How do I settle my tuition fees? How do I come up with resources like books, stationaries, and other things that I might need to succeed in the program that I'm going to pursue or the vocation I'm going to pursue? So you make all these things, so you kind of make a list, a checklist, and then you work through the list. And when all that is done, you set that dream into motion. You drive the initiative. It's not going to be an easy ride. And from my own personal experience, it's really a tough and a bumpy road. But in aiming higher to pursue your degree or your vocation or whatever that it is, you need to have the tenacity, the determination to see to the very end. And to have this tenacity, sometimes when you confront obstacles, and when that happens, you have to take a step back, analyze the situation, and adjust. Of course, we're in the new normal in quote, and right now we are seeing that the education sector is adjusting to this new normal through online learning, virtual platforms, education, homeschooling. So all these things are, you need to prepare for the unforeseen. That's the key thing to take from here. You need to prepare for the unforeseen. And in this new normal, COVID-19 has come to stay. Is virtually part of us now. So the best thing is to analyze the situation and adjust to it to make sure that no matter what, you're gonna go through the system and get to your destination. It's gonna be tough. It is tough, but you have to have all the motivation. You need to be determined that I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get there. So with that, then you need to ask yourself, what change do I need to make to effect a positive difference in my academic pursuit? And once you identify that change, then you are good to go. So I'll end with a quote from Benjamin Franklin that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And it's true. Once you invest in knowledge, once you invest in that skill, no matter the situation in these new normal times, at the end of it all, it's gonna pay you back. And we have, coming from an African descent, we have this thing that your parents will look or take care of you for you to grow, and then later on you look after them till they die. And what does that say? That is to mean that the money that they invested in your education, at the end of the day, they're gonna get a return, which is the interest in it. And you, the person who is pursuing this education, you're gonna see that transformation in your life because you're gonna get a good job that will pay you well, and of course that would also help you to achieve that financial freedom that you want to do. And in this new normal, I want to quote with this, that things are not the same. And as was stated in Mark 2 verse 22, and I quote, that no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is lost, and the skins as well. But one puts new wine into fresh wineskins. That is, in this new normal that we are in, we need to have a redefining moment of our thinking, of the way we do things. But the goal is, no matter what, we are still going to achieve what we set out to achieve, finish that race. no matter what in this new normal time. Thank you.
Better
So
now.
what
Yeah.
I was saying is that so I've been given the opportunity to talk about the need for mentors in education. Previously, I worked in a firm in Belgium where we work with leadership development. So in my case, we work mainly with people who wanted to be leaders or managers of companies. We did work with the global companies. So everything that we did mainly was to coach or train trainers, train managers, and their subordinates, and also teams, from the CEO level to uh, the, the lowest level of management that a company has in its organizational chart. And I had some experience having contact with such trainers and coaches, and I got to the point of me acknowledging that mentoring is more important for everyone, even the youth or even students who are starting school. From my experience, when I studied in Belgium, I had the chance to go through a similar situation where I had counseling sessions with teachers or with psychologists who were part of the educational system. So I was given the opportunity to have that mentoring, and it helped me a lot. So I was just going to give you just the need for it. Like, I know people here. Some of you may have started university. Some of you may have already finished and looking for a job, or you may also be in a position where you may be looking for a career advice from people. And what I've experienced is that every one of us needs a mentor. The reason being that when you have a mentor, there is they help you to structure yourself. We help you to get smart goals. What I mean by smart is that you have smart, meaning specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic, and timely. So for you to be able to achieve a goal, let's say you have a project like going to school, having a bachelor degree or a master degree is your project. You would need to write it down in a set form, in detailed, how many years this program is about, how you are going to tackle each semester. Get someone to guide you. Is it measurable? Is it something that what would you like to achieve afterwards? Is it something that you can find a job after? So when you enter into school, you have the opportunity to talk to a mentor. You can also find some mentors online, especially on LinkedIn. There are some people, maybe you want to work in finance. The best thing to do is go through LinkedIn or through other networks that you may find, and show up. Just email people, send them messages, show interest of how well you want to be, and see how best they can help you, because people are there to support each other. And especially for me, this is what I love to do most of my life. Even though I do other things, I love to help and support others. So when I get to know that people are interested in what I'm doing, or they want to achieve even bigger heights than what I've done, I'm always glad to support. So, and that I got also from my lecturers, so they could also give me guidance, where career support after school, what is necessary to do. And so you get these goals done. And one thing I know is that, like Benjamin Franklin has said some time ago, that if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So with all this planning involved, you have to put pen and paper on board, make notes of what you want to do, and then, yeah, at the end you are going to achieve it. So first is a goal to keep, and then for a mentor, the other thing that a mentor could also give you is he'll be your timekeeper. So you schedule regular sessions with them. You ask for feedback. They'll keep record of how fast or slow you are going, and they'll be able to monitor your movement. So if you have a semester where you have failed an exams, or you are not doing well in a particular subject, they can always support you by maybe giving you more exercises, telling you which websites or online e-learnings that you would need to be able to perform in this particular area. So that's also very important to note, that this person will be your timekeeper, and they will be able to show up every time, because they are responsible for your success, and you are also. But they keep you up every day to know that you are going well. Because the thing is, the main thing about achieving something is mainly about consistency. You don't just do it once. You have to repeatedly. You need to find every day some motivation to move forward, and there is a mentor where he or she will be able to guide you through these times when you're falling behind. He can keep you up to date on what needs to be done. Another thing about mentoring is also that you would need someone to motivate you. Motivation, like they say, is like taking a shower. You need it every day. There is no other day that you would not find a motivational speaker or an inspirational person on the internet. The social media is full of people who are doing different things, but specifically if you want to grow yourself, you want to educate yourself, you'll find a lot of motivation from people who are actually advising and who are also sharing their life experiences. So it's very important to find someone like that. Steve Harvey once said that if you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded people, or a small-minded person. There are some people who may be around you, and when you tell them of all your big dreams or all your aspirations, they would go like, okay, this is too much. Maybe you should dial down a bit. You cannot do this. But if you have somebody like a mentor who's professionally trained to keep you up to date on what you have to do, when you tell them, they'll plan with you how to get to that point. It's more actionable, and they are more motivated because they also get some sort of they also expect you to win, because at the end of the day they add it to all the achievements that they have done, or they've come up in their lifetime. So yeah, I think that for us, for mentors, they are more ready and available for you to always work with whenever you need it. The one other thing that they can also do is through if you have any help, if you need any help on your projects, especially mainly with your projects at school. Let's say you have a project for master thesis, and you have maybe 2 semesters to complete, or 1 year to complete it. You always have a supervisor at school who can keep you up to date and also check on you on how you are progressing. But the most important thing is that you have the mentor who is also going to check every bit of what you are doing, and as and when you need to deliver a scheduled program, you ask for that information. In my field, we also have coaching, which is personal or life coaching. And so we used to coach people, or we talk to people in their difficult times, about their relationships, about their work life, their career. I do that on the side, but I'm not a certified person that I would say that I can do very well. But for the life coaching, that's what I'm saying. It's something that you do on the side, what I do on the side as well. The other things that I would say the mentor could also support you with is with your career, and that's the most important thing here today. You definitely, if you go through the education system, you're going to complete. You're going to have hopefully you are getting a distinction in your area, your field of study, and then you will need to get a job. So what the best thing to do, actually, even through school, you need to find where you want to work. I mean, people who work there, talk to them, ask them questions, how they find their jobs. They'll Networking is the most important thing, actually, because everyone will have a certificate, but then who do you know? At the end of the day, somebody will have to recommend you to your next employer, and that's where the mentor comes in. He or she would know vast knowledge about what is going on in the field, and he will be able to support you in creating your own path. If you want to make a CV, you want to get some skills, some soft skills, you can introduce it to people who would employ you as an intern, and then later on you can have some experience. Because nowadays I've worked in a place where I read CVs of people, and when I see a CV, I say, okay, this is something that I could take. This is something that I would just put aside. You need guidelines on those things, because sometimes we put so many things that are not necessary for a recruiter to actually read. So you will need someone to give you that guidelines to be able to move forward as you go on to find a job. There are some skills that you need. Actually, before I gained my first employment, the reason why I got the job was because of my experience that I had in school. I was in a project. I was a project manager in ISEC. ISEC is a student organization which I joined for at least 2 years of my bachelor degree, and it was at that time it was the most exciting thing I had done in school apart from studying. I was just doing project management. I was organizing job fairs for students. I was organizing the trainers for students. I was leading the team to create awareness of the student body on campus. So this when it went on like this, I was able to have that experience. And on my interview, I just explained everything about what I did, all the educational part of we training others to become trainers, and also uh, bringing companies to our campus for them to meet students for job fairs and for career exchange. That was something interesting. Right there, I got the job, and through that, you would need someone to advise you on what to do. Because if I had not done that, and if I had not said that on the interview date, I would not have had my job, and I'll be maybe in a different field, or I'll be unemployed at that moment. So I'm really pleased that I got that experience, and I got somebody, because we made some mistakes in the past. And if you have a mentor, this person will be able to guide you through those things that he or she did wrong, and you can be a better person than he or she had. And with this note, I'll just end here by saying that if there is the need for anyone to go through any process of this, or to find what kind of mentor they will need, they can always contact me, and I'll put that person on, and I'll try to support in any way that I can. And also, mainly my sessions are one-to-one and not for groups, so it's more efficient and effective if we speak one-on-one. And most mentors, they do that, so there I can able to specifically know the issues at hand, and then we can tackle them, and we become partners in this case to success. Thank you guys for the time, and I'll end here and wait for your questions later on. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Enoch, for that insightful, you know, talk. This is what I got from the talk. I wrote some things, and I hope you also wrote some things down. So from Samuel's talk, he said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So if we are investing in our knowledge, it's also important for us to also find people that will guide us along the way, which Enoch spoke about. So these people can actually help you. They can be your accountability partner. They can be a source of motivation for you. And also they can help you with your projects at school. They can support with your career, and you can learn from their mistakes. You do not have to repeat certain mistakes. You can learn from your mentors. So moving on, we are going on to Pearl, who is our last speaker, and she will take us on the topic, the impact of health on our education. So I'm putting on.
Okay. All right. Right. So let's get straight into action. We are going to talk about life in tertiary school, health matters, and more. And like Nancy said, my name is Pearl Kitch. I'm a public health nutritionist, and I have a freelance nutrition practice called the Diet Maze. So congratulations. Yeah, you got admission. So after admission, what happens next? I remember when I got admission into the university for the first time. If you enter the university and it's a local community, you're likely to see people you completed high school with. and it gives you so much joy to reconnect once again. If you have the chance of getting into a tertiary facility in a country outside your local country, then it's highly likely that you meet people you've never met before. And it's also an opportunity to make new networks. All right, so let's gel into academics, health, and lifestyle. Three areas that are mostly impacted when you enter the university would be your academics, and then the change in your environment, because obviously it's a whole new environment. You're meeting new people, you have to meet new colleagues, lecturers, and experts in the field that you want to pursue your degree in. And your lifestyle also changes a bit because now there's the joy of thinking independently and making your own decisions. And now your lifestyle, you get to choose your own friends. You decide whether or not to go to class. In fact, you become the one in charge of your own life. You choose to study when you want to study, and you choose to do what you enjoy doing the most when you want to do that. And now, more currently, with the challenges of this COVID-19 pandemic, then virtual learning is going to be the norm. And all the other WHO protocols, which include hand washing, social distancing, and now eating right, has also become a very necessary aspect of surviving this pandemic season. When you become a student, your dietary patterns begin to get altered, meaning that when you get to the new environment, you now decide what to eat, you choose what you want to eat, you choose whether to cook for yourself or to eat out instead. And sometimes most students prefer eating out rather than buying groceries and shopping and cooking for themselves. And you realize that along the way, when your academic work begins to pile up and you are not so cautious, you end up finding that your dietary patterns become greatly affected. And if this is not well handled, it ends up taking you through into adulthood with a terrible dietary pattern. Also, your sleep pattern alters. For example, some people study more effectively at night compared to during the day. So you end up finding that you spend most of your nights awake and doing your academic work. And then during the day, you're either taking a nap or so your sleep pattern alters a bit. Now, sometimes it gets to a point where there's so much lack of sleep because you have to a deadline, you have to complete your assignments, which you have to turn it in before the time is due, and then you end up sleeping around 4 a.m. You wake up at 6 or 7. And if you continue this continuously, lack of sleep for a long time can have negative implications on your health. So you need to be mindful of that. So basically what I want you to know is your academic life, if you find a side hustle, so some of these side hustles could be either volunteering or doing a student job, and your social life also plays a role. So now you have your academics, your side hustle, and then your social life. And then it is very important that you balance them all out properly so that you prioritize them accordingly so that none of it lacks along the way, because your academics are very important. You also need to build yourself personally and enhance your employability. So you either volunteer or find a job to do alongside your academic work. And you also have to build your networks, because after school, your networks are very, very, very important to your life's journey. So you need to balance all these three well and effectively. So while I was doing my degree as a public health nutritionist, my research work required that I look to the dietary patterns of students in the university. Now, while I was in this research, I found out that snacking was very common among students, and then breakfast skipping was also very common among students. Now, I also realized that most of the snacks that students prefer are mostly high in calories and are likely to be associated with weight gain. So you have to be cautious of this snacking practice when you get into the university. These protein bars with added sugars, a lot of them, sometimes a lot of that intake is not too good for you, and so you eat less of these. And I also realized that intakes of fruits and vegetables are mostly below the recommended intakes. Now, based on recommendations from experts, it's advised that you have a minimum of 5 portions of combined fruits and vegetables per day. Now, a portion is 80 grams, so 5 portions is 400 grams of fruits and vegetables combined in a day. And sometimes a portion could be maybe 2 fingers of banana, a handful of granola, and you also have a medium orange. So all these things, you include them in your meals, and then you realize that you are enhancing the meal patterns. Because I also realized that vegetables were the least preferred of the food groups among students, and vegetables are very important in our diet, and I advise that you include vegetables in your meals. So now let's look at some of the foods that people mostly eat and what people should eat less. So on my left is the foods that I consider to be high in calories and should be eaten less. It includes the foods that are high in fat, sugar, and salt. And most of these need to be consumed much less because they can lead to uncontrolled weight gain. Some people are not aware, but sometimes alcohol intake, excessive alcohol intake, could also lead to weight gain because I don't want to become technical, but then alcohol gives some bit of the calories. So if you do the calculations, you realize that it also gives out a lot of calories, and so you take that less of that. I advise that people eat more of fruits and vegetables and these freshly pressed fruit juices and water, because water is life. Now, let me give you some few healthy dietary tips. Portion control is very important. Eat in moderation. Eat square meals. By that, I'm saying eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Avoid meal skipping. Avoid skipping your breakfast. You realize that sometimes in the morning you wake up and you have a lecture very early in the morning. I would advise you prepare the day before. You pack your food, put it in the fridge in the morning, you take it along with you so that right after your class you can have your breakfast. So avoid skipping meals during the day. Now make sure that the meals that you eat are well balanced, meaning that you have the right proportions of your macronutrients and your micronutrients. And by saying that, I'm referring to carbohydrates, proteins, fat and oils, the healthy fat and oils, your vitamins and minerals, which are mostly found in the fruits and vegetables, and you include that in your daily meals. Avoid eating foods that are high in fat, sugar, and salt. Let's look at healthier alternatives to snacking. So you eat freshly cut fruits such as bananas, mangoes, melons, pineapples. You drink freshly pressed fruit juices because sometimes the synthetic ones have added sugar, and too much intake of that is not too good for your health because maybe your sugar intake would exceed that of the recommended daily intake. Eat nuts and leguminous seeds because they are also very healthy. Sometimes boiled granules are also helpful, and corn on the cob. But you mostly choose foods that you prefer. Dietary variety is also very important because as you eat different foods, you get different nutrients from them. And the tip for the day is to try out new recipes. Sometimes people do not like to try out new recipes, but I am advising that when you try out new recipes, it makes the eating journey exciting because you always try something new and then you get to taste of different cultures as well. More healthy tips that I would leave you with is physical activity or body exercise. Now, physical activity is very good for the body, If you spend all day behind your computer, you don't walk around, that is called sedentary, and you don't want to prolong your sedentary times because it could lead to weight gain and other health issues can come up along the way. So make sure that you do your body exercises regularly, drink enough water, remain well hydrated, sleep well. By that saying, I'm not saying be lazy, I'm just saying make time for your sleep as well, because you cannot cheat nature. So you have to make time for your body to rest, your brain to rest, so that you become well rejuvenated for the following day's activities. If you are someone that works well at night, you still make sure that you get some sleep time after you've spent hours doing a lot of research. Now, I would also advise that you should think less. Whenever you feel worried or stressed, you should find a friend to confide in. Or sometimes, if you believe in God, then I would advise that there are days where you need to go on your knees and pray to God to hear your prayer. And sometimes, when someone hurts you and you're not excited, just let it pass. Forgiveness is something that frees you, the one hurting, and not always the one that has even hurt you. So learn to forgive, and then avoid being depressed, because it doesn't help your mental well-being in these times that you need to learn and make the good grades. Now you need to create valuable and positive networks. Like I'm saying, after you've completed uni, your networks will help you along the way. So you have to be cautious of the people you bring in your circles, and then you create these networks along the way. Sometimes people focus only on the grades and they forget the people they met in the journey in the university. But I'm telling you, hold on to your networks, because in some years to come, your networks will drive your net worth. Now, stay positive, build on yourself, work hard, and aim for the best. So, I just wanted to tell you a bit about Diet Maze and what I do. I'm a nutritionist and I offer one-to-one nutrition advice. I provide lifestyle support throughout a prolonged period. And you can visit my website at www.thedietmaze.com to book an appointment or make an inquiry or even read some of my blogs. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I'll be willing to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Pearl, for your very insightful talk. As I keep saying, you all have been so helpful today. I really appreciate it. We have so many questions here that our viewers are asking. So we are going to put all of us on so we are able to answer the questions. So I'll put the first question on. Can we see the question? Okay, so the first question is, what are some resources for preparing for interviews? Anyone can answer.
Mm,
I think she means interviews for school. So if any of us have an experience, we can share with her.
Yeah. So for interview for school, the first thing, Mr. Enoch did mention, you really need to prepare well for the interview, and by doing that, first, if it's possible, try to make sure that you know something about the program that you're gonna pursue. For example, I applying for PhD here at the University of Florida. Um, I was fortunate to kind of work in the same institution for a year and a half, so I kind of knew most of the faculty members. So I approached them and I asked questions about the program that I intended to pursue. So they kind of gave me a highlight about the program, what it entails, and also the requirements that they were looking for. Take note, it's not everything that's on the school's website that they are looking for. That's one thing that you must know. So you must first read about the program, get more insight about the program, because you can't go for an interview and they ask you, so why do you want to pursue this program? And you're like, I don't know. I just want to go to school. It's not done. So you must first read about the program. Know that you are so much interested in pursuing the program even before you think of, applying for it. And also you need to mind your appearance, because well, people these days, there's this trend going on in Ghana where this guy called Dr. UN was able to to scam like celebrities, and one of the celebrities that he managed to scam, Sarkodie, kept on his Twitter that next time you look at the suit. I mean, you need to watch how you present yourself. Your appearance speaks a lot, and how you carry yourself. And also, you need to have a very presentable CV. Enoch touched on that, and you must know what you put on your CV. You can't put something on your CV and they ask you about it, and you can't say anything about it. So you need to, have that check, and also have something on your weakness. Because sometimes you do go for the interview and they may ask you, so what are some of your weaknesses? No one is perfect, so you can't tell them that I don't have any weakness. It's never that. You are not excuse to say God. So you need to identify your weakness, and after identifying your weakness, try to turn that into something positive. So, for example, like you go like, I'm not good at math. However, I'm taking classes on math. I mean, that's like making your weakness look good to them. That's also one good thing to take away. So I don't know if the rest have anything to say.
Enoch, would you want to add something?
Yeah, I will. Okay, so what I everything that someone said, there's 100% is true. I'll just also touch more on maybe for the job interview itself. So there, most of the things that has been said are also applicable to job interviews. And one other thing I will add is that if you're preparing for an interview, try to go on the website of the company itself and find more information for yourself. Go there, search for their financials. Even if you're not interested, just get to know what industry they are working in, what sector they are in, what is their margin, how much, what are their struggles. Because there's one or two questions that interviewers usually ask, and sometimes we fumble, is that they want you to ask them questions. They ask you, what do you know? Like, they ask you to ask a question about what you know about them, or what anything at all that you want to know. You don't have to keep that as a bonus. It's a reason. There's a reason for that question. If you're able to ask them a question that pertains to their financials or their position in the market, they will know that you are more interested in them, and you already know more about them before you join. So they will be more interested to talk to you more, because they see that you didn't just come to the interview just to find a job, but you're already involved in whatever they are doing. Another thing is that there are some examples that you need to give, especially when it comes to the questions about strengths and weaknesses. You don't just mention that I'm not good at this, or I'm good at this, I'm a strong guy. Those kind of things, they are still fluffy, but then you need to put it in a project way. Like, you can say you worked on this particular project. Let's say your master thesis. While working on it, you found out that your time management skills was lacking. You needed more time for one or two reasons. You give that examples. You show them you mix a deadline, but you make time for another one. Just give examples where they know specifically that you are working on your weaknesses, and that you are not like someone say, you're not God. You will make mistakes. So try to portray a person who is vulnerable but ready to study or to learn from their mistakes. One other thing that you can also do is that when you go for the interview, on the interview day itself, when you get into the building, you greet the receptionist or the front desk, and they show you the way and everything. Those parts are very important. It's like, let's say, 30% score from everything that you've done on the interview day. Because right after the interview, the manager who interviews you will come back to receptionist and ask what you did, how you were when you came in. Either you were stressed, you look tired, or you didn't greet, or you spoke nicely, you were sociable. Those things, because some people, especially, we overlook people at the receptionist and at the front desk most of the time because we think we have a degree, we are going to get the top job in that company. So we forget about maybe the janitor or somebody at the front. But the managers, I have done it before. I always go back to the manager to ask what happened, what did he do, and then they'll give a comment, and we always take those comments seriously because because we are going to work with customers, and we need somebody who can work with everybody. Not just looking forward to working with the CEO alone or the manager alone. So that's also important to note. Mainly, yeah, you just have to be presentable, like you said, dress code. If you are looking for a sales job, suit up, woman, everything. You just have to dress polite, like be nice to everyone on the day, and that's it for me from my side. But it's more important for you to prepare more than you would need actually. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. We'll move on to the next question. I think this is for Pearl.
Just before that, just adding up to
Okay.
what Enoch said. So for school, also one thing that I did was to contact current students, in the program, ask them about like how their interview went, try to scout some questions, possible questions that might be asked, and also do prepare some more questions that you would have them ask you and try to answer them, and we try to better like your responses to those questions. And as also touched on your how you treat others, your personality, smart. One thing, for my part, the admission chair happened to be on the same floor that I worked as a biological scientist, and one thing that she told me was, "You're a lucky guy because always we see you in an African way and you're always smiling," and that helped you. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I always smile. So just try to smile, like try to be lively and don't be tense at the interview. Just relax because once they see more tense, it doesn't send a good signal. So that's what we add.
Okay, thank you all so much. So we move to the next question, which is how can you maintain a healthy eating habit with an extremely busy schedule?
Nice question. So I would say I go by this rule, eating with intentionality. Most people eat when they're hungry, like they just wait and they eat when they're hungry, but you plan your life so much that you even plan what you eat. So as part of your schedule, you include your shopping times, maybe for your weekends. So you might choose Saturday early in the morning or late in the afternoon, depending on your scheduling. Or even sometimes on Sundays after church, then just quickly do your grocery shopping for the week or for 2 weeks. And then you apportion what you would cook throughout the week. So you either choose to cook for the whole week and then put them into sizable portions and refrigerate them appropriately, or you choose to cook during days in the week. And all of this has to do with planning and time management. So you apportion it, because if you don't do that and you claim you are very busy and you do what you want, your body at the end of the day will start giving you signs. And these signs may be very unpleasant, because when you get these lifestyle diseases, you end up spending a lifetime trying to manage this condition rather than having to enjoy the benefits of your labor of having studied and getting a good job afterwards. So I just advise that you eat with intentionality. And this is very, very important. All the aspects I talked about, just make sure you include them in your diet and you will be fine.
Thank you very much. So we move on to the next question. I think AC has so many questions for us. How do you find and maintain a relationship with a mentor? Enoch.
Okay. So how to find first how to find them. It's mainly it depends on what you are looking for in the mentor. If you have like I said, there are different types of topics that you can talk about. There are different types of experiences that you would like to know. If it comes to your career, it depends on. So let's say you're working in. I'll give an example of finance. You work in finance, or you want to work in finance. There are some people who have already done it before. Some people who have taken certifications in those places. So one example that I'll give you is you go on LinkedIn. It's more for professionals. So there you would be able to connect with people directly on their through their job titles or the companies that they've worked in or they are in at the moment. And there you can find people, and you just have to send them a chat. I mean, if you are there, you know it's not like Facebook, but you just send there's an message chats where you can send people messages just to connect. If you are going for the mentors where you have to do the paid ones, you always have to make a chemistry call. So you have maybe a 30 minutes call with a professional mentor, and then you get to know him or her, and if you like each other, you continue that session. Mainly, so it depends on the area, but then as well after the chemistry call to maintain it, it's all about you because the mentor, he or she is in his own professional world, is doing his own thing, and you need the support the most. So you need to show enthusiasm. You have to always be if he or she gives you deadlines or you schedule sessions together, try to make time for those things. Try to be up to date with what you are doing and show more interest. I think that will help. There are most of them are paid. I mean, if you go for coaching, personal coaching, most of them are paid, and that's what I used to do. We have companies coming to us to get guidelines on how to grow, how to maintain their teams, how to build new teams, how to start a new department. We do those things. But then if you want personal one-to-ones, it's mainly for you to have a chemistry call first, get to know the person and see if you can work with him or her, and then go on to maintain that relationship by having regular sessions like one-on-ones, every one session per month or per every 2-3 months if you can, as and when you guys are ready to do. That's for me, right?
Okay, thank you very much. Can this mentor be someone you personally know?
Yes, yes, of course, of course. I mean, I have an example. Nancy, we had some sessions last year and the year before on how to get all those things all the things that you brought up. And so it's nice for me to also say it here that, yeah, I think that from what I'm seeing now, it helped and we are seeing the benefits of it. So it's very important that if you know the person personally, it's more important. Sometimes what it hurts is that when you know someone so well, you may not take their advice from them. So let's say your partner is your mentor or your brother, your sister, or your uncle. You may not take those words seriously than someone from outside. And especially if you are paying for it, then you would be more serious about it. But for me, I do those things for free. And you remember I was always keeping up on you, like just checking in to see how far you're going, how far we can do that sessions. And it's important. For the only disadvantage that I said is that if it's family, sometimes you don't follow those instructions. You don't, because I'm really methodical, I'm really disciplined in certain things that sometimes when I talk to others, they think I'm extreme, because that's the only way I could achieve whatever I think I have done so far. And so I'll put you up to it as well if I want you to be. And even if you're my brother, I will still keep you. Unless you're not interested, I will leave you to be. Yeah.
Okay, Enoch, there's a question on the screen for you.
I don't have a company myself, but I was working in I worked in Center for Creative Leadership. It's an American company, headquarters in Greensboro, North Carolina. But at the moment, yeah, I was in the Brussels branch, and I did well. I mean, I can always recommend you to people who are still in and doing this for a lifetime, and I can also take you on as well as a coach, and then keep you to date with whatever you are looking forward to do. So I'll send it. The company is called Center for Creative Leadership, and yeah, that's where we did. I worked.
Okay, thank you very much. I also have a question. Is there a right and wrong way of studying? I think any of us can answer that question. Is there a right or wrong way of studying?
Okay, I think I'd like to take a go.
Okay.
Obviously, most students like to pile up their notes and wait to the last minute before they read the notes. Back in the days when I was a uni student, they used to call those notes virgin notes because you keep them for so long. It's about a week or two to exam, and then you find yourself trying to cram it all up in your head. That is the wrong way of studying. The right way of studying is making sure that even sometimes you read ahead of the class. And then when you go and sit in the class, whatever your lecturer tells you, you pay attention to the content and the detail that is being delivered in class. You listen to the details, and then after the lecture, you go back and you read through the notes of what you had in class ahead of the following week's lecture or the next lecture. So that helps you to stay abreast with the information that is being delivered to you. And I believe that that is the right way of studying. Because at the end of the day, when it's close to exam, you don't find yourself reading notes that you've never set your eyes on. It just becomes the revision that we are talking about. That is reading over what you've already read for a long time. And that is the right way of studying. Someone could add something to what I've just said.
You, Samuel, will you add something?
I mean, Tara said it all. But you have to also find what works for you personally. Some people really get it at a go at a lecture hall. Others also have to study with their friends. Like I for instance, I'm back at King University. I had this my friend, like people call us twins because we always move together. Um, and, after class, I would just like go up to him and he would, say what he understood from the class, and I mean that was how I was able to like get it. Like I kind of understand things from my peers. So you have to know yourself and identify what really works for you. Some people to do like cramming, if it's called a key on four. So I mean just find what works for you and but do it the right way. As Phil said, just don't wait till the last minute else that helps.
Thank you so much. I have a final question. So we bring this to an end if there is no question from the audience. So my question is, do you have to join clubs, like get involved in extracurricular activities? Do you have to join these things to help you in your studies or in your education as
I'll say yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, those things help up with your CV. I mean, and those things also help build you up in terms of like your leadership and up back at the junior high school, I was the assistant vice prefect, and I still have it on my CV. Just so that like anyone who picks it up will appreciate that. Okay, right from their on goal, like he had the leadership potential in him, so we'll give him a shot. So joining, of course, you shouldn't join every club on campus. That would virtually take up all your time. Just identify clubs that suit your career, goal, and once you join those clubs, to try to take up positions in those clubs to help you, take up um, wherever that you want to be. So I'll say yeah. I think Enoch wanted to.
yeah, Enoch?
Oh yeah. So definitely. Yeah. You need it. I experienced. I was in Isaac for 2 years while studying, and it helped me. It was just extracurricular, nothing part of what we were studying together. But also, I also joined groups, especially my Ghanaian community who were part of my university days. We studied together. And me, for instance, being selfish, any subject that I didn't do well in or I didn't really follow, that's when I pair up with someone to study together because I needed that experience. I needed that knowledge. So I always was networking, or even I sat with the best person in class just to know how well the person is taking their notes, how concentrated they are, so that it helped me a lot. And during exams, I was just, going through easily. So it's really important for me. Some subjects are there that, well, and what I've noticed is that if you try to teach someone, you remember it better than when you study on your own. And so it's necessary for you to get. It depends on its personality. Maybe you are someone who is always on your own. You can always do that, study on your own. But then if you have other perspective as well, like someone said, it's really important for us to know that, and it helps to get better grades because the whole class or the whole group is doing well, and that helps you as well.
Pearl, would you
Can
like
I
to add
chip
something?
in? Yeah. I remember that in school, I happened to work for the careers department while I was doing my master's. And we found out that yes, extracurricular activity has a role in enhancing the employability of students. Would you even believe that even joining a sports club, it's a sign that you are focused, dedicated, because you have to show up at um like practice exercise. You have to work with a team. So even in a sports club, there are a lot of leadership skills that can come out of it. So I believe that yes, extracurricular activity plays a major role in making you who you really want to become. Because sometimes you even end up realizing that the course that you're pursuing might not be where your path lies. And if you take part in extracurricular activity like volunteering, sports, and all these others, you find where your true passion lies. So it's very important along your academic journey in the tertiary environment.
Thank you all so much. So this is the time for your closing remarks. Then we bring this to an end. So we start with Samuel. Give us your closing remarks.
Well, thank you once again for having us on this show. I would say we are not in normal times, and we have to come up with new and innovative ways of still pursuing our educational careers, our educational goals, and trying to make the best out of what we have. Uh, we should still remember that whatever goal that we set for ourselves, we should strive to achieve that. Remember, 20 years is gonna come, and it better finds you doing what you really wanted to do. I wish you all the best. Continue to stay safe, and God be with us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. We move on to Enoch.
Yeah. So, guys, as we've said, and I'm really willing. We're ready also to help because that's the most important thing for me as well. And also for me, what I do best is to support others. I think we all need guidance on things that we've not done before. I think we've all been a child before, but being an older person, not everyone, and it depends on the age. So if there is an opportunity for you to be guided by someone who has more experience, who has more knowledge of what you want to do or what you want to achieve, it's best that you stay connected and get that information because this world, if you've known, there's so many changes now, especially for this year. There are so many unknowns, and some people know better than others. So let's get together. Let's get to know this because if you have knowledge about certain things, you may not make certain decisions, and that helps you to grow. That helps you to keep away from some problems that you may encounter. So I would just urge you to, if you are someone who may think, okay, I can do everything on my own, just know that not everything. We are not an island here. We are here to support. Everyone could support you, and if you have a mentor, that would be even key to your professional growth, and that would help you to reach all these goals that you've set for yourself. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much. Pearl, can you give us your final words? Unmute. You're muted.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
All right. So, like we've said, it's an exciting opportunity, and I would like to congratulate you once again for gaining admission into university. I advise that you pay attention to your lifestyle, your academia, and also the friends that you make, and pay attention to the foods that you eat. Eat healthily and remain well hydrated, spend time, be physically active, join a gym or a sports group, or do something to keep your body active, and make sure you don't gain too much weight, because when you gain weight that is uncontrolled, it can increase your risk of lifestyle diseases. And enjoy the very best time of your academics, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was actually a last minute something, but I'm so glad you all agreed to do this with me. And I hope my audience has also learned a lot from this session. And I believe we are all going to put it into practice and do something about it. So you can see their contact details, their email addresses on the screen. So this this one is for Enoch, and we have this for Pearl, and then we have the email address of Samuel. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you, James, for joining. Thank you, Issy, for your questions. They were really good questions, and I'm sure someone somewhere is also asking the same question. So thank you all so much, and I hope we organize another session like this so we all learn from it. On this note, I will end with a quote that is really keen to me. I believe that we need to go to school, all right, but you do not have to just go through school. Pursue education. Going to school is different from pursuing education. So going to school is one form of education. And when you go to school, don't just go there to make friends only, as our audience has said. No, as our guests have said, you have to also go go to school to make meaning out of your life. Thank you all so much for joining this session, and I hope to come your way another time. Until then, see you all. Bye.